Hello and welcome back to my channel, brothers and sisters, regardless of race, nationality, faith or social position, because this channel is for all people on earth. This is the first time when I speak in English to all of you, as I am a Romanian citizen, and I hope I will do it acceptable. In this video, I will present a very revolutionary and totally demystifying concept which comes from a civilization that has a technological and spiritual advancement of about 25,000 years on us, this civilization being called Elohim in the Bible. Even though it might seem very annoying at first glance, our current scientific advance allows us to understand this concept in general terms, so let's start and not waste time anymore. Until the Middle Ages, the universe was seen by humans as something quite simple. The Earth was in the center, and the stars, the planets, the moon and the sun were connected on a celestial dome like light bulbs, all revolving around the center of the earth, and all this being created by a supernatural God, this God having to answer to a great question. What was he doing before creating the universe and time, and where was he until then? Because you have to be somewhere and at a certain time in order to be able to exist in the first place, I will say. Now, going further with the help of astronomical observation based on increasingly powerful telescopes, people began to observe more and more things, such as stars and planets, realizing that they are part of huge organizations called galaxies, which stretches over distances of several thousand or hundreds of thousands of light years, each galaxy itself containing hundreds of millions or even hundreds of thousands of billions of stars, each of them representing a separate solar system with its own planets. And the galaxy we are a part of, the Milky Way, is just one of many others, about 2 trillion according to the latest astronomical observations. As you can see, at the moment the universe seems huge, and history shows us that it is considered bigger and bigger as the observation techniques improves. However, people have always imposed a limit, as if there can be nothing outside the frame of what they could observe, but each time the way things went showed us that these limitations were totally unjustified. It also happened with the well-known atom, which in Greek means indivisible, because the people who discovered it thought that it was impossible for this particle to be divided. But again, history has failed us, has shown us that they were wrong, and the atom, since we now know that it can be divided and has smaller particles inside, should have a different name, right? But it is not easy to change something that has become a kind of tradition, even in the field of science, which is supposed to support the revisions brought by the new evidence based on observation and experiment. I made this reference to the atom because it will have a great deal to do with what follows, since the universe exists in all directions, as you'll notice. The great revelation that follows was presented in the 70s, when a very advanced civilization decided to offer it to us through a man from Earth, as they chose him to be their envoy in this scientific era. And in the description you'll find the link from where you can download for free the book that contains this revelation, along with many others. Here is what was transmitted about the universe and its structure. The progress continues and our research continues for the purpose of understanding the vast being of which we are a part and whose atoms we are parasites. These atoms are the planets and the stars. In fact, we have been able to discover intelligent beings in the infinitesimal and who live on particles that are their planets and suns. They ask the same questions as us. Mankind is a disease inside this gigantic being, and the planets and the stars are its atoms. Also, this huge being is in turn a parasite on other huge atoms. In both directions, infinity exists. But the important thing is that we make sure that the disease, which is humanity, continues to exist and that it will never die. We did not know when we created you that we had accomplished a secondary mission written in us, thus repeating what was done for us. From what we created and how it developed, we discovered our own origins, because we too were created by other people who have since disappeared. Their world has certainly disintegrated, but thanks to them, we have been able to continue their steps and create you. We can disappear one day and then you'll replace us and take over our roles. So you are the next link in the precious chain of human continuity. Other worlds exist and humanity is certainly evolving in other parts of the universe. But in this region of the universe, our world is the only one that has made new creations. This is important because every world must give birth to innumerable children who are vital to preserving continuity. This allows us to hope that one day humanity will be in danger, no more in danger of disappearing completely. But we are not sure that humanity will ever be able to stabilize in abundance. The chain has always continued, but we must not upset the balance of the huge body in which we are a parasite, because we can trigger a catastrophe that at best can bring about a recession and at worst can cause complete destruction. In a healthy body, a few germs can live without any danger, but if they develop too much, they cause a disease that troubles the body. Then the body will react to destroy the responsible germs, either naturally or with the help of medication. The important thing is to create enough worlds so that humanity does not self-destruct. Then, to make sure at all costs that the balance is not broken, but by concentrating our efforts once again in search for making those who live happy. We can help you a lot in this regard. It has always been so. People have created other people like them on other planets. The cycle continues. Some die, others take their place. We are your creators and you'll create other humanities. That which has been, it's now, and that which is to be had already been. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 15, the Bible. The animals have also been created and will be recreated, just like human beings, no more, no less. The species which disappeared will live again when you know how to recreate them. So that man had no preeminence over a beast, and everything is desolation. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 19. We, the creators, will officially show ourselves only if humanity is grateful to us for creating it. We fear that human beings might be hostile to us, which we cannot accept. we would like to begin to have contact with you and to give you the benefits of our considerable advance in scientific knowledge, as long as we can be sure that you will not turn against us and that you will love us as your parents. The emblem you see imprinted on this machine and on my suit is the truth. It is also the emblem of the Jewish, the Star of David, which means that which is above is like that which is below, and in its center is the swastika, which means that everything is cyclical. The bottom becomes the top and the top becomes the bottom. The origin and destiny of the creators and the human beings are similar and interconnected. The more primitive a society is, the more deist religions will flourish within it. These religions are currently cultivated by visitors from other planets who have no other peaceful ways to visit worlds that have not yet overcome their aggressiveness. If you reach the stage where you become evolved visitors on primitive planets, you will be forced to use such a system, which is very funny and makes you be seen as gods in their eyes. In fact, this is extremely easy, since for primitive people, if you come from the sky, you can only be divine. Of course, you have to force yourself a little to be respected and pleasantly received, which does not harm. We will continue to make appearances on Earth to see if it still works and to see the reactions of public authorities, governments, and the press. We often amuse ourselves quite a lot. As I already explained in the first part of the message, there is no God and obviously no soul. After death, there is nothing unless science is used to create something. As you know, it is possible to recreate an organism from one of its own cells, which contains its physical and intellectual plan. It has been noted that an organism loses a few grams at the time of death. This is just the energy that all living things have available to them, which is eliminated at that time. As you know, energy, just like matter, has weight. You also know that we have discovered that there is a organized and intelligent life at the level of the infinity small, certainly as evolved, and we are incomparable to what we are. We are able to prove that. From there, we discover that stars and planets are atoms of a huge being, which certainly contemplates other stars with curiosity. It is also very possible that people living in the levels of the infinity small of a person of the infinity large had moments when they believed in an immaterial God. You must understand clearly that everything is in everything. At this moment, in an atom of your arm, millions of humanities are born and others die, believing or not in a God and a soul, and when a millennium passes over you, the gigantic being whose sun is only one atom had time to take just one step. Time is in fact inversely proportional to mass, or more precisely to the level of life forms. But everything in the universe is alive and in harmony with the infinity small and the infinity large. The Earth lives just like the other planets, and for the small growth that humanity is, it is difficult to notice this because of the time lag due to the huge differences in mass which prevent you from perceiving its palpitations. Nor could one of our red blood cells, or rather an atom that forms our body, imagine that together with its peers forms a living being. In the end, whatever happened to each individual, the universal balance remains constant. But if we want to be happy at our level, we must live in harmony with the infinity large, with the infinity small, and with our fellow human beings. No argument aiming to support the existence of any kind of God or soul can exist when we can perceive the infinite nature of the universe. No heaven can exist in a particular place because, since the universe is infinite, it cannot have a center. On top of that, and I have already explained to you, there can be no communication between an entity of the infinity large and another of the infinity small, because the difference in mass is very large, in this way creating a difference in the flow of equivalent time. Finally, if one can imagine an immortal soul escaping from the body after death, an image that is rather poetic since it comes from the minds of some primitives, one cannot imagine where it will go because the universe is infinite. The amount of energy that flies off at the time of death disperses in a random way, losing all identity, and it blends with all the energies suspended in the surrounding air. This identity is obviously inscribed only in organized matter, such as the cells of a being that has just died. This matter is organized according to the blueprint that the male and female genes determined at conception during the formation of the first cell. Regarding the origin of life on Earth, some people might ask, your explanation doesn't change anything because you can't say what it was in the very beginning. This is a foolish comment, which proves that the person who made it is unaware of the infinity that exists in space and time. There is no beginning and no end to matter because nothing is lost, nothing is created, everything is transformed, as you have already heard. Only the forms of matter can be changed according to the wishes of those who have acquired the scientific level that allows them to achieve this. It is the same for the infinite levels of life. This is what the second part of our emblem represents, the Star of David, which is composed of two overlapping triangles, meaning as above, so below. Together with swastika, which means that everything is cyclical, in the middle of a six-pointed star, you have our emblem, which contains all the wisdom in the world. You can also find the two symbols in ancient scriptures like Bardo Todol or the Tibetan Book of Death, and in many other writings as well. It is obviously very difficult for a finite human brain to be aware of infinity, which explains the need to limit the universe in time and space by believing in one or more gods who are responsible for everything that happens. Of course, those who cannot reach a sufficient level of understanding of the universe have trouble accepting the notion of infinity, which assumes that humanity is nothing exceptional but merely people located at a certain time and place in the infinite universe. People clearly prefer things to be well defined, well framed, limited in a way, in the image of their own minds. Those who wonder if it is possible for life to be on other planets are the best example of these limited minds, and we really liked the comparison you made during one of the conferences, likening humans to frogs from the bottom of a pond, wondering if there are frogs in others. Dear people, all of this was transmitted in the 1970s once again, when our astronomers thought the universe was much smaller than they are thinking it is now. Slowly and surely, we will reach the same conclusions as those offered to us by the Elohim, our human parents from space. It cannot be otherwise, since they created us in their own image and likeness, as it is very clearly written in the Bible. The sooner we adhere to these revelations, the greater will be our chances of survival as humanity, because the messages received from Elohim are an invitation to universal brotherhood, universal harmony, and universal peace, all liberated from the primitive mysticism, this mysticism which also hinders our evolution a lot, in fact. Dear friends, this video ends here and I hope you found it useful. I am waiting for you in the comment section if you want to express your opinion, and for those who want to know more, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and activate all notifications, because more and more videos similar to this one will follow or already exist on the channel, and you should see a special playlist with these videos right now on the screen. I kiss you all and see you in the next video.